There's a saying that misery loves company. That somehow some people who are really miserable state of life like to kind of put it on the shoulders of others and kind of bring them down too. It's not a very good situation. But sometimes when we are miserable, when things aren't going so well, we don't know what to do. And sometimes we can lose courage, even despair. The letter to the Hebrews in the first reading today was written to a community of people who had lost the fervor of their first faith. Their spiritual lives had become very lethargic, and they were all very down. And the author of the Hebrews is trying to encourage them. He's saying, you know, the Lord is with you. And he's recalling times in the past, many situations with people over the whole Old Testament where things were very, very difficult. But they were people who persevered. They hung together, supported each other, prayed with each other, and they persevered through lots of difficulties. It helps us, like when we read the lives of the saints, for example, the saints who are human just like you and I are, and went through different problems in their lives. It's encouraging when we read about their life and how they persevered, how they hung on to their faith, how they trusted in God, even in the face of great difficulties. They had that faith in God. And it wasn't always easy, but they persevered. And I think that's what the readings are telling us today, is to persevere in our day-to-day situations and know that we can endure all things because Christ is present with us. And we all have different problems in our lives, one way or another. But if the Lord's with us, it makes all the difference in the world. When we are facing difficulties and we have a friend or a family member or somebody who really cares, we don't feel so alone. And the Lord wants us to know that he is always with us. This gospel story is kind of frightening in a way, isn't it, that we heard this morning. I can't imagine 2,000 pigs all being possessed by devils. But this man, it says he was possessed by legions, meaning there were many devils possessing him. The poor man was in total misery. And of course, Jesus, with his power, comes along, and the devil even recognizes him as the Son of God and wants him to leave him, stop torturing us, it says. And of course, Jesus doesn't listen. He keeps saying, get out of the man, and makes them all go into that herd of pigs, and over the cliff they go. Jesus' power is great, and there's nothing that he's not able to help us with. And so again, in the gospel, I think it just reminds us of the power of Christ. And it's the same Jesus. You and I are here today because we know Jesus is here. We know we're going to receive his word and receive him in the sacrament of the Eucharist. And we also support each other because we're all coming together. There's a unity, even in this small group. And so today we thank the Lord for bringing us here in this place because we have such a great presence of Christ with us and soon to be within us. Let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions.